So my name is Dirce Hernandez. I currently serve as a manager in security risk management for a Fortune 500 healthcare organization. I have nearly 18 years of experience spanning the financial, healthcare, higher ed, and technology sectors. With that comes a lot of wide range of cybersecurity challenges. Today, I want to walk you through a little bit of my professional journey and how I strategically pursued certifications to help me shape my career trajectory and empower me to live with purpose in the cybersecurity field. So I started my career around 2007. I graduated with a bachelor's in 2005 from Lady University. So, it's definitely changed. It took me a year and a half, almost 2 years to find a job in within information security. But I got the job, right? And not all of us are as lucky to start right out of the gate with a job in InfoSec. I definitely advocate for looking at jobs within IT, help desk, anything you can get your hands on to get your foot in the door in an organization and pivot to cybersecurity roles. In regards to certification, currently in my role, uh, certifications that I have under my belt, which are include ISACA certifications such as CISA, CRISC, CIPC, CISM, are basically showing that we're driving risk management programs aligned with frameworks, for example, like the NIST framework and regulations like the NYDFS cybersecurity regulation as an example. So in regards to my personal journey, I followed the strategic learning path. I started my career in 2007. I wasn't even looking at a certification until probably 2011, 2012, when I graduated with my master's around that time. I had been working 5 years at that point in the space, so I started looking at SAN certifications and started looking at the CISSP, which is basically the flagship security certification in our space. But things didn't play out and didn't happen as I wanted them to, right? I mean, we have to face adversity, face challenges, and it's important to note that when you study for an exam and you do not pass, it's demoralizing, but you cannot let that stop you. You have to continue to learn, continue to study, change the approach to understand what you could do to better your chances of passing it the next time around. So that's kind of the path that I followed. Usually ISACA, the certifications, the first one that I got was in 2017. It was a CISA, Certified for Information Security Auditors from ISACA. It provided a real-world practical progression that maps closely to real-world cybersecurity functions, governance, audit, risk, and privacy. Each certification involves formal documentation. I definitely suggest you buy the material from the certification body. The way I like to say it, and I know it's definitely not the most ideal, but it's usually the way I see it is: do you want to be right or do you want to be certified? What does that mean? Some certification bodies have different nuances in their tailoring of the certification material, that if you've been a practitioner for years, you might not necessarily 100% agree with the questions and the answers, but you need to understand that you have to put yourself from that governing body's perspective as you look at the exam, right? So do you want to be right? Do you want to be certified? Sometimes they're right there with each other, the same, and that's usually the majority of the questions, but sometimes that's not the case all the time. So look at the question and answer databases, subscribe to that, purchase the manuals. Anything that's centric from the organizational body providing the certification is the best materials I would definitely suggest. Obviously, there's lots of third-party materials from CyberArray, Skillsoft, other things on YouTube that would help people pass the exams, but I usually like to focus on those first and foremost before looking at any other sources. So reinforce certification knowledge by directly applying the concepts to the environment. Actually, your real world operational experience, leading risk assessments, if you're doing that work, looking at policies, authoring policies, and improving compliance metrics would also help. But like I said, at the same time, it's a double edged sword, right? You have to kind of look at from the certification exam you're evaluating to understand, do you want to be right? Do you want to be certified? So I like to say that all the time because it's important. So some of the recommendations for new and advancing professionals, right? Like I think it's been the caveat, the big theme here for today. Understand what area of cybersecurity excites you the most, right? So GRC, blue team, red team, offensive security, privacy. Once you have that particular line of sight in regards to the area that you feel most aligned to, then you can pursue those credentials to build that credibility, right? So, for example, CISA for audit and compliance and security, the CISA, Security Plus for those that want to do technical, ground foundational security work. Security Plus, CISA. I heard CISA in a call earlier. Those are really good for that. and use the frameworks, not just not just studying for the test, but applying what you learn. People get lost in translation, lost in the sauce, like we like to say, about all these different things happening when it comes to certifications, questioning, but you're not really applying what you're learning as you're going through that experience of studying for a certification. Um, so leverage community platforms like the ISACA, local ISACA chapters, LinkedIn groups, and mentorship programs whenever possible to talk to those folks that have those certifications already under their belt, to ask their experience, ask how it went for them, how was their experience studying for that particular certification that you're studying for or aligning to, and get their takes, and use that to your advantage. Like I said, focus on certifications that align with your current or desired role, rather than collecting credentials without strategic intent. I mean, you can have all these letters next to your name, but at the end of the day, you didn't really learn anything from that, from all those certifications and all those exams. You're not really making the most effective and efficient time and leverage of those certifications that you can if you actually put that from an strategic intent perspective, to learn what is actually the certification was trying to teach you to begin with. Create a learning plan and revisit it annually based on your career as it evolves, right? I mean, you might start in the red team, blue team, and then eventually roll off to GRC. So maybe GRC centric certifications might make the most sense is where you're at currently in your career field, as they were when you first started. So, it's good to kind of take a step back and understand where you're at in your career, to maybe align to those initiatives and certifications that would align for, in your current state, to better your security and your security career posture as well.